The danger of the rich and powerful man bubble. What got me started thinking about this was a great piece by Brian Klaas over on Substack. He writes for Substack, regularly, and you can find his piece. Let me see here if I've got the URL. Yeah, it's brianklaas.substack.com. And in which he was talking about how, morbidly rich people tend to think that they got rich through their own genius, when in fact, science tells us that most morbidly rich people either inherited their money, that's about half of them, and the other half who made it as a result of basically, luck, opportunity, privilege, being in the right place at the right time, having the right parents, all those kinds of things, and not because they're geniuses. So here we've got Donald Trump saying that the United States Constitution should basically be canceled in order to make him president again. And this is the kind of mistake that a flock of geese would not make. It's the kind of mistake that evolution has designed against. But this small group of people keep making this mistake over and over, and our Supreme Court made this situation even worse. This mistake that Trump is making is the same mistake that Kanye West that he made when he publicly had dinner with Kanye West and Nick Fuentes, coming out, in Mar-a-Lago, walking into the dining room where everybody stands up and applauds them and takes pictures of them, and they all go viral and everything and all that stuff. That's an example of extraordinarily bad advice and believing your own BS. This is the problem. This is the mistake that Napoleon made at Waterloo. This is the mistake that Hitler made when he invaded Russia. This is the mistake that Putin made when he invaded Ukraine. This is the mistake that Elon Musk, according to the business press, is making right now with Twitter, or that Sam Bankman-Fried made with Bitcoin, or that Mike Lindell is making in a dozen different ways. It's frankly the mistake that Xi Jinping is making right now governing China. All of these rich and powerful men have the same thing in common. They believed their brilliance or success in one particular area means that they are brilliant and will be successful in all, which is not true. What each one of them have rejected is an informed decision-making process. In other words, what each has rejected are people telling them things they don't want to hear, challenging their beliefs. What each has rejected is essentially democracy. I've written about this and talked about this for as long as I've been doing this program. But, some of the just extraordinary science that came out in the 80s, the 90s, in the first decade of the 2000s, most of it actually in the just, 10, 15 years ago, about democratic behavior among animals. And this finding that when 50% of the herd of red deer are pointing toward one particular water hole, when they hit 51%, that's when they all decide to go to that water hole. That when a geese are flying, why does that flock all turn to the right all of a sudden? Well, it's because each wing flap is a vote. And every goose in the flock is voting which way to go with every wing beat. And it's not like the lead goose says, I'm going to turn right and everybody follows. I mean, watch a flock of geese sometime. They all move instantaneously. And it's because when they hit a vote of 51%, boom, they move. Same thing with schools of fish. Well, humans are wired this way too. We're wired for democracy. And this is how, most Aboriginal societies are constructed. But what we have now are the Supreme Court encouraging the destruction of democracy. Letting morbidly rich people run our elections, control the narrative. We have the Supreme Court and Congress allowing monopolies in our media that stifle democracy. And this is not only bad for the United States and bad for democracy in general. This is bad for the survival of life on Earth because humans are screwing the planet up with climate change. So, we've really got to do something about this. I mean, democracy is the ultimate survival mechanism built into all animal life by millions of years, hundreds of billions of years of evolution. So it's time for us to take democracy seriously again and overturn Citizens United. So who do you think will make a good candidate for president? You know, Biden with his family had this meeting a couple of weekends ago in Massachusetts, and they were going to talk about it. They haven't said a word. That makes me think he's not running for re-election.